Hi, I'm Justin.
And I'm Paige.
And we are
Being Adventurous.
Now, if you recall the last episode, I reserved IONIQ 5. And then the Hyundai concierge folks very quickly sent me an email letting me know that, hey, by the way, the following week, we're going to be doing a live showroom with the IONIQ 5. So, we also mentioned in the last video that, actually, you know what? Maybe I didn't mention the video. So I went ahead and booked it in my calendar, my schedule, so that way I wouldn't have any meetings conflicting with it, because I wanted to make sure that I took an hour out of my day to watch a live showroom. What I didn't plan for was I ended up watching multiple showrooms, and certainly in some cases listening to multiple showrooms, because one of the great things about the live showroom is they had a cameraman and a host and the car. And you could ask any question you wanted. They would answer them as best they could. And if they didn't have answers, they would try to get you the answer during the showroom, or in subsequent showrooms they would have the answer. And they would show you any part of the car you wanted, any feature, because they were using the limited trim, which is the highest end trim they have. So from that perspective, that was a great welcomed idea. Right, you got a car coming out in the fall. People are excited about it. They reserved it. They want to know more. They didn't have all the information, such as they still don't know what the pricing is, which I found kind of weird, because in the Kia First Edition that we already pre-ordered, which doesn't ship until January, we already know the price. Well, yeah, we know the MSRP.
We know the MSRP.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Where Hyundai doesn't have any pricing whatsoever. So that's one of the problems that I can appreciate Hyundai having these showroom events, because it's great from an information flow perspective, and we have complained about information issues with other manufacturers before, but it's just unfortunate that they didn't have that type of basic information that they should have. Just like when they made it very clear that a reserve does not equal an order, nor did they have any information as to how you turn a reserve into an order. So I found that
that's strange. I mean, if you are reserving the car and picking out all of your accessories and features on your reservation, then you would think that means they're going to build you a car.
Correct. And you would think at the very least they would have the information to give you as to what is the process now that you've reserved it. What is that path to get to it being an order, to get to the point where your car is being made, to get to the point where you can try it out, and if you like it, buy it. That's unfortunate they don't have the information yet, but those are shipping in the fall, so they have a month or so to really figure it out. And I say a month or so because while my concierge person did not tell me a specific date, on one of the live showrooms, one of the other person claimed that their concierge person said September.
Oh, wow.
Which I was like, okay, I assume that they're not lying. September is kind of fall.
Sure.
So
not in Texas.
Depends how you define it. But at least it's like we know it's close. So which is even further as to why they don't have some of the more basic information. So I found that just kind of frustrating, but still that's still good news. No pricing, still unfortunate, because they really should have that figured out by now as well. But let's just start getting into the car itself.
Yeah, because I feel like there were some major differences between the European model and the US model.
Well, and even with the global model.
Okay.
Right, because the global model, the one that they were showing off in all those South Korean videos, they had the digital mirrors
from inside the cars.
And then they had the display inside projecting it.
Sure.
But apparently that's only available in South Korea for, I think, an extra $12,000 US. So maybe the price is why Hyundai didn't bring that over, because it's not.
I feel like we would pass.
I don't feel the same. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so there's a couple of big differences that I noticed on the showroom. And so one person was asking about, could they show a picture of the trunk? Because remember, the trunk in the videos is more like a slide drawer, like a slide bucket drawer.
Not trunk.
Glove compartment. Sorry.
Glove compartment.
Yeah, it's kind of a slide out drawer. thing.
And it kind of looks plasticky in the videos, and
correct.
so you're not really sure if you'd like it or not. Like the idea.
Correct. Like the idea
Right.
of, because to me that seemed like it would be more accessible.
Right.
Versus you opening the door and
Everything
stuff falls
falling.
out. So that is the problem with the US one, is it's more of a traditional one where it looks like it's the same size, just that the door is a traditional glove box drawer.
Okay.
And not the full slide out like the definitely like the global one. I'm not sure if the European one is like that, but it's definitely not like the global one. So that was kind of like, that was kind of one of the cool features. I mean, you think it's kind of minor, but still it's kind of cool. So one of the other cool features that the Hyundai IONIQ has compared to other cars is their rear seats move forward and backwards. So not only do they tilt, forward and backwards as far as your lean, but they also physically move. And on the videos and on the screenshot on the Hyundai USA website, it clearly shows on the control panel on the side of the seats that part is electric.
Yes.
Going back and forth.
Everything I've seen that's electric.
Not the case for the US version. So one thing I noticed when they first zoomed by it is it didn't have that adjustment, that lever. And when he went to demo it, he reached in front and pulled up a lever, just like you do in a lot of lesser vehicles, and then you move yourself back forward and backwards. So that was disappointing. Not that it's a huge deal, because as we were talking the other day, is we spend our time in the front seat, so that's kind of our primary concern. That environment is our primary concern. But because we do have other people in the car, we still want to think of what their experience may be like, right? So that was kind of disappointing. The other thing that I know we were looking forward to on these new EVs, and even now we're kind of wondering if it's the case on the Kia, is when Hyundai was very adamant that it did not support wireless Android CarPlay or Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. They were adamant. Their reasoning was that it was due to the screen size, which I found kind of odd. And when I did some Google searching, the only requirements that I saw for things like Android Auto was the car had to support Wi-Fi, which these do. They have their own hotspot.
Right. And
you had to be using a phone with a 5G connection, because they were claiming that lesser mobile connections didn't have the bandwidth.
Go T-Mobile.
To support. Yes, go T-Mobile. Don't have the bandwidth to support the wireless display. So I found that kind of odd, but I'm not going to question that part of the technology equation. But I do question the screen, though, because that's just kind of odd. Because when we saw it on, you say many Mach-E videos.
Yeah.
It takes up a portion of the screen, of course, because it's landscape. But that size looked similar size to what the Kia and the Hyundai display size are, because they're 12.5 or 12.3 or something to that effect. So to me, logically, it doesn't make sense. Because UI, if anything, then you have a little bit of UI scaling, but that's something we need to dig into, because Hyundai was adamant. So I'm going to take them at their word that they're not supporting it. But now we need to look at it from a Kia perspective.
But then I mentioned, how often do we use that now in our current cars?
Correct.
Use Android Auto.
I would if it was wireless. I don't, because it's wired. Because the USB plug for Android Auto is on the other side of my stick shift. So if I have it plugged in, then when I'm shifting, it's hitting the cable. So that's why I don't use it. If it was wireless, I would use it. But in taking that into account, though, even from a wire perspective, the way Hyundai has it, their connector is the one way down the front. So you pretty much would not be able to reach your mobile unless you had a longer USB cable. So I guess that's kind of a good thing. You're not tempted. And even if it is connected, it's sitting on the console. And your console can move back and forth on this. So it's not a huge deal breaker, but it was a nice convenience feature.
Well, for me, it just interferes with Pokemon Go.
You're not supposed to be playing Pokemon Go or Monster Slayer while they drive.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was kind of like it was something that we were kind of looking forward to, but I was like, oh, another little ding in the armor,
Right.
which is unfortunate because, especially with the Hyundai, I think we both like the exterior for some reasons and some same reasons, some different reasons. The interior was kind of the thing where it's like, oh man, that's where it really needed to really be a home run, because that's the one we weren't really sold on.
Yeah.
And now you get these little X's for features that we were looking forward to. That hurts, but it's not the end of the world. So they were mentioning that you get a 3-year subscription to their BlueLink software. I found it kind of odd because they have all the functionality in their BlueLink software, including using your phone as a key and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that they mentioned is that there's 3 different tiers of the subscription, but he was still saying that it was at least $99 a year beyond that. So I'm like, are they gating off the ability to even use it to open my car or to preheat it or pre-cool or anything like that? So I'll need to look into that more, because I think
it sounds like we have some more research to do.
Absolutely.
Right.
But it was good to know that it has 3 years included. Just like it's good to know that Hyundai is offering 2 years of free charging on Electrify America for the first 2 years in 30-minute sessions. So
unlimited
30-minute sessions. Yeah. So, and the good thing is, at least I think it's a good thing, is I think because it's linked to it. It sounds like it's linked to your Electrify America account. So in theory, you can charge any car with it, because you would be logging into your Electrify America account to select the charger that you're in front of for it to initiate the connection, because that's the way you get the discounted pricing from Electrify America typically.
So what we'd love to know, are any of you currently a 2 EV household using Electrify America, and are you seeing that it's just like one account per household and you share that account, or is it per car?
Yeah, I'd be interested to get some feedback on that, because from what I've seen on videos, it should act like that. Because I remember was the one guy was taking his Volkswagen ID4 out, but he was using his in-laws account, which still had free charging. Therefore, he got free charging. So that's what leads me to believe that that's the way it kind of works. But hey, we love to get the feedback, and if anyone out there has that direct experience, it'd be fantastic to let us know. I'm just going through my checklist. It doesn't have run flat tires, but I don't think that's not a deal breaker for us. If we get a flat tire, you plug it in, let it pump up its stuff inside the wheel, and
then we hit Discount Tire.
And then we hit Discount Tire. Absolutely, shout out to Discount Tire. The other thing that they mentioned was, and I don't know if you noticed it in some of the other videos, is in some of the other videos, if you don't pick the sunroof or moonroof, or moonroof, because that's what they're calling it.
Oh,
you get a solar roof. They are not offering the solar roof as an option for North America. So I'm just curious, what is causing some of these decisions? Is it maybe they're not being manufactured in the U.S., so they're coming across from Asia or Europe, wherever they're built. Thus, there's some added expense that they're essentially cutting out of the car to meet pricing targets. If that's the case, does that mean next year's models are going to be cheaper because they're going to be starting manufacturing these late this year, early next year here in the U.S.? That's an interesting question, because they are making some curious cost cuts for the North American market. And maybe it's just market research, and maybe their market research says Americans don't care about these sort of features. But I don't think we fall into that category. I think we are definitely feature oriented for the most part.
Absolutely.
We like cool features.
Absolutely.
They mentioned from a mileage perspective, like on the website, it talks about the base model with the rear-wheel drive, you get your 300 miles per battery charge. And then when you do the all-wheel drive model, which is also the one that gives you the added horsepower up to 320, which is the same as the Kia First Edition, it says your mileage drops to 269. Fair enough, right? Because you're running an extra motor. That kind of makes sense. But then they made the further comment that said if you're doing the limited, it's down to 250. And and because the limited is all-wheel drive as well.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I was like, is that right? Because I could have swore that I read on the website that it's $269 for that. And I think what it comes down to is the limited trim comes with the 20-inch tires versus the 19-inch tires. And typically, as you have larger tires, your mileage goes down. Okay. So I think that's what ends up bringing you down to 250. Okay. But 250 is fine. Certainly for our needs, 250 is fine.
I think that's what you're averaging now in your car.
Less.
Less.
Yeah. If I'm doing highway driving, then I'm probably in the 325 range. Sometimes creep up towards 350. But yeah, I'm lucky if I get 250 before I have to fill up my tank of gas now. So yeah, the mileage is fine. Absolutely, mileage is fine.
Yeah. They
were talking about another feature that we both were digging the fact that the Kia has it. So Kia, the EV6 has heated rear seats. Again, because we care about the people that are in our car. Hyundai has chosen not to offer that. So again, yet another feature that they remove, and they kind of just further little ding. Yeah. And it sucks. It's not the end of the world, but again, it's cumulative. So everything that they remove is cumulative.
I guess we are questioning our decision a little bit then.
Correct. Well, I mean, they do have, a couple good things, right? You get your 5-year, 24-hour roadside assistance. That's always good.
Right.
Especially if you need a charge. They'll come out and they'll charge it for you, so that's nice.
Or flat tow you.
They'll flat tow you, yeah. Which is good because they flat tow you, then that'll help regenerate the battery as well. Has a convenient thing like the home link. It's in the mirror itself, so you have 3 settings. So that's convenient, having a garage door opener without actually having to have the unit, which is handy. It doesn't matter for us, because we own our home. But if you're renting in a place like in our apartment,
the gate,
if you lose the gate clicker, then they're gonna charge you to give you a new one. So it's kind of nice at least to have it built into the car, even though sometimes our home link experience has been hit and miss. Even today in Paige's Fusion Energy, it's still hit or miss as to how many times she has to click the button in order for the garage to start doing its thing. So
you're like moving that the visor down, thinking
trying to get the angle. Yep. And then the last thing I'll talk about is the side mirrors. So typically in a lot of new vehicles, and I think we've seen it in some of the global version without the electric, the radar mirrors, is when you leave the car and you click it to arm it, the mirrors auto fold in. So right now, and they were saying that it could be because it's pre-production, but the car doesn't do that, because I was looking at it when he was demoing it going in reverse, so you can check with the camera, and the person wanted to hear the beep of when it backs up.
Oh, that's smart. I would have asked for the
turn signal sounds. Yeah, they did that. It sounded fine to me.
Well, it's not about you.
Yeah, it's true. I don't have the issue with it. But when he did that demo, I noticed that the mirrors didn't tuck in. So I asked specifically, like, what's up with that? And he did point out that in the door handle there is a dedicated button to bring the mirrors in, and I'm assuming back out. So that leads me to believe that it might not do it automatically. If it does it automatically, why do you need that button? I guess potentially as a backup. But they couldn't confirm, so I'm not going to confirm that that's a feature. But that's an important feature, especially with garages nowadays, having 2 vehicles nowadays.
Right.
Having things put you on the side of the garage, like shelves and things like that. You're going to want to leverage that self-parking feature. And in order for that to be really effective, those mirrors got to be tucked in. Got to be tucked in. So it'll be interesting to see as they finalize their feature set and functionality and things like that, and share that information with people as they lead up to launch. It'd be interesting to see if that ends up being an actual feature, being automatic, or if they're relying on the button to do so.
Yeah.
So,
are you good?
I'm good with the list of things that I wanted to mention.
Okay.
I think, you kind of hinted at it just before. These things are cumulative in a negative way, and we were already kind of on the fence when it comes to Hyundai IONIQ. I mean, historically with Hyundais, we've never really been impressed with the interiors, and like I said in one of the early videos, the only car I liked exterior-wise was the Veloster. That was in a nice shape, but the interior just absolutely sucked, in my opinion. So this one kind of gave me high hopes, which is why I decided to reserve it in the first place. I'm still looking forward to it though, because I don't want to hold these. These are really insignificant features at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it does like force us into, we really need to get organized and maybe in some extent prioritize the features that we want in a vehicle. Especially because we're going to be doing direct comparisons. Anything we buy ultimately is going to get compared to the Kia EV6. So we need to make sure that, we prioritize what features truly are important to us versus which ones are nice to have, because you never know. If that EV6 doesn't have wireless Android Auto, shit's gonna fly. But yeah, so that's an exercise we definitely should go through for our own benefit. But otherwise, we're gonna go check out the car. But
we did stop at we went to the Hyundai.
That's right, we did.
Dealer this last weekend to see if we could get any information, if they had heard anything. The one that I guess you had chosen.
Well, you don't actually choose.
Yeah, you don't choose. I'm sorry. We were.
But we were in the area, and but it was like 15 or 20 minutes before they're supposed to close, and they had already closed.
They were like, Friday night, Friday third day, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have to try again to get more information from the dealer themselves. Yeah, but again, looking forward to checking it out. It does give me pause as far as the dilemma.
Did you pull the trigger too soon?
Luckily it was a no risk trigger.
Well, true.
Luckily it was a no risk trigger.
But it's making us. Do we try to get the Mustang GT? Do we wait for the Kia GT?
There is that, because there is that dilemma of really the IONIQ 5 is the equivalent of the EV6 effectively. So do we really need two of the same performance, same feature issues, right? I mean, it's like it's almost like the dilemma where we had like even to the point of, do we have the EV6 first edition and an EV6 GT? I mean, for the most part, they're going to look pretty similar, aside from the performance. Or do we go for something different like the Mach-E GT performance or something to that effect? So that's something that we're going to have to, give some more thought about. And if we, do come up with some interesting things to discuss, we'll definitely do a video so we can get some comments from everyone as well, kind of where we're at with that type of discussion and thought process, because it is something that we need to give more thought into in light of the live showroom that Hyundai did. But otherwise, I'm very thankful for Hyundai doing that, because I found it extremely useful. I wish Kia would do it.
Oh, yes.
Because I mean, it's the next best thing than touching the car like we did with EV6 at Chicago Auto Show. So I'll take it. It's great. Yes, some of the information was a little bit disappointing. Not deal breakers, just disappointing. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm done.
Oh, I was gonna say that's it for today. We appreciate you being adventurous with us.
Still have to figure out how we're gonna say that. Nice and smooth. Good job. Okay, take care. Have a great day. We'll see you on the road soon.
Bye.